name is Helen Vigers. I'm a member of the orchestra at the English National Opera in London, where I play principal, cor anglais and oboe. As well as playing the cor anglais solos and doubling on the oboe as you would expect, I often play second oboe in operas with two oboes, such as those by Mozart and Handel. So I have to keep both instruments up to a high standard, as it's a constant juggling act with runs of different operas overlapping, as they always do. We did our last show at E&O on Saturday the 14th of March 2020, which is now about 14 months ago. It was the first night of a run of performances of The Marriage of Figaro by Mozart. We had a great cast, and the first night had an extra special atmosphere. I think we all just went for it, as we feared we may not be able to continue the run. On our way home that day, we discovered that the Royal Opera House had cancelled their show that evening. Then it was announced there were to be no more large gatherings, so we didn't return to work.
During the pandemic, I really enjoyed having some structure to my day. So a lot of my friends were just spending the whole day on their phones, but I really enjoyed practicing my oboe. It was also really nice to feel the music and to get really into it.
Over the pandemic, I particularly made an improvement to my vibrato and my tone and sound as a whole, so my playing sounds a lot more controlled.
Due to COVID, I have done more practice as I seem to be having endless free time. And with this free time, I've also been involved in a lot more events. I have got into more online rehearsals for my area youth concert band.
I have been having lessons recently on Zoom, which does work, but of course it's not quite the same as having a person in the room hearing exactly what sound you're making and being able to observe in close detail the movements, etc.
I think music is all about collaboration, so I decided to take part in a few virtual orchestras. I took part in Jess Gillen's Virtual Scratch Orchestra, which involved me recording the oboe part with a backing track. I also took part in the BBC Lockdown Orchestra, which was comprised of over 100 musicians and singers and 6 BBC orchestras.
I actually started playing the piano a little bit instead most days, which I never normally do. This turned out to be quite enjoyable. There were harmonies, for instance.
I've been able to use the beautiful woodland trails around here to do some trail running, and that's a new form of running for me. That's been really, really lovely and very good for my mental health. So one other useful tool that I've been building up over the last year is a teaching resources folder, and this has included all the warm-ups that I've been sending out to my pupils, and so warm-up games, exercises, long notes, tonguing exercises, suggested ways of practicing and so on.
I've had to become very accustomed to Dropbox and WeTransfer over the course of the pandemic, and I also learned how to upload videos to a YouTube channel.
I decided very quickly that I needed to do something that kept me playing, but much more importantly, contributed and helped those people who were really struggling in the challenges that the pandemic created. So, the dining room of our house, which also doubles as a music room, became a hastily assembled recording studio. and I embarked on recording and presenting a short programme of roughly 10 minutes every day in April and May 2020. A total of 61 programmes, which were distributed online via a special page on my website.
So all the playing work stopped, and it was really hard looking at my diary and seeing all these cancelled events, so much so that I actually ended up changing diaries, ditching my old one, because it was just really sad to see all these performances that weren't happening.
At the time of the first lockdown last spring, it was such a shock to be told to just stop and to not know how long for. Motivation to keep practicing has been very difficult at times. I found January and February this year particularly hard, and I didn't play very much then. I realised that from school days there's just always something to work towards, from lessons and exams to concerts and auditions. So to have so long with nothing is a real challenge, especially those times such as the start of the year when we just had no idea when we might be working again.
Rather than leaving it to my teacher to fix small problems on my oboe and to my reeds, through necessity I've become more confident in tweaking screws and scraping my own reeds.
I think the pandemic has led me to become a more resourceful person. While studying Leger de Main from Dorati's 5 Pieces for Oboe, I contacted Diana Doherty in Sydney, who I think is a wonderful oboist, and through several recordings and emails she helped me with the multiphonic fingerings and overall performance tips.
I've learned to take more responsibility for learning, and I found out I learn better in school and not in line, because I tend to distract myself very easily.
I will continue doing Zoom lessons, definitely. I know it's a rather frustrating medium for teaching, but it has been very useful. I've been taking masterclasses, for example, and being able to have students from all over the country. And that's really exciting to be able to spread the word of bassooning out to further afield places that wouldn't normally come to London for a masterclass, for example.
What to do in this situation? Our obligation, obviously, as an artist, as a musician, and human being in general, is to contribute to share our knowledge, and I think that was the first instinct which appeared when all these things happened. During these sessions were around 300 visitors, and in total almost 2,000 people connected during these sessions, 100 sessions. I think it's very valuable to continue with Ventus Optimus, and I think I will maybe not do it so often and in so regular times, but yes, we will be here.
I'm going to learn to appreciate all the amazing musical opportunities which I have, as the pandemic has made me realise how lucky I am to have so many amazing chamber groups playing.
In the future, I will not take in-person rehearsals and concerts for granted. Also, I will try and exaggerate my playing from now on, as on Zoom and Google Meet it is very difficult to get dynamics and different colours to come across.
I now attend the Junior Royal Academy fortnightly, and I've finally seen my oboe teacher Josephine Lively after a year and a month. I take part in a socially distanced wind and brass orchestra and also a few chamber groups. And I'll never take music making for granted again, and just to be in the same room as like-minded musicians is wonderful.
Our motto, how to deal with this situation and for future, is that art will save the world. So art will save the world.